Okay, good morning and welcome to our strength yoga. If we wanted to start off by sitting down on our mat with our legs crossed, placing the hands on the knees and closing the eyes. Just taking slow, deep breaths. Just slowly breathing in through the nose. So it's almost as if we're breathing fresh air into the body, up the spine, up through the crown of the head, giving us great posture. So then slowly exhaling through the nose. Maybe feeling that exhale going from the top of the head all the way down the spine to the sitting bones. Inhaling deeply. Feeling the chest expand, lifting you. And exhaling down the spine and grounding you. Just taking slow, deep breaths. Just using this time of stillness to scan through your body. Really checking in. So how are you feeling at this very moment? Just really taking this time to notice. We're all feeling different. Just taking that time to notice it. Slowly opening out the eyes. Both hands come down to the side. We're going to come to our hands and knees. So we're going to sit back on our heels in a wide-kneed child's pose. So sitting down on the heels, stretching the arms forward. So maybe walking the hands just a couple inches forward, sitting back on the heels with the arms straight. Notice how the back is feeling. So maybe you're not sitting all the way down the heels. Maybe your focus is to stretch out the arms, the shoulders, the upper back, the area around the rib cage. Going back to your breathing, noticing the deep inhale and deep exhales. Really practicing this. Taking time to notice the expansion of the rib cage as you inhale deeply. Okay, coming up to all fours. So knees underneath hips, hands underneath shoulders, taking a deep breath in and lifting the back leg, so the right leg lifts. So really lifting the right leg up, and exhale, bringing the right knee to the nose and rounding spine. So we're on our hands and knees doing this. Inhale, lifting right leg still, lifting up. Exhale, bringing the knee to the nose, rounding spine. Inhale, lifting right leg. Exhale, bringing that right knee to the nose. Inhale, lifting the right leg again, this time opening up the right hip. So the right hip opens, bend the knee. So we do this in three-legged dog. This time we're doing it on our knee. So feeling the right hip opening up. So the right hip is twisting up towards the ceiling. The right foot is coming towards the left bottom, left side at the bottom. Feeling it open up. And then bringing the right knee down to the mat. Taking a deep breath in, and then exhale, lifting left leg up behind. So just lift it up. And exhale, bringing left knee to nose, rounding spine. Inhale, lift. Left leg up. Lift a little more. Exhale, bringing the knee to the nose. So really following the breath, having deep breaths. Inhale, lifting. Left leg, reaching up. And exhale, left knee to nose, rounding spine. And then one more time, lifting up the left leg, reaching up. Now, left hip starts moving upward, bending left knee so that left foot is coming towards the right side of the bottom. So really trying to lift up. So this might feel nicer than it does when you're in three-legged dog doing this. But just getting used to opening up the hip. It feels really nice. And this can also be done in place of three-legged dog. So always finding a way to still do the pose, yet participate and within your own, whatever feels good that day. Okay, so both legs back down to the floor. Curling toes under, coming into downward facing dog. So let the head drop down, bringing the feet, curling the toes under, spreading the hands. So really finding your foundation here. So the hands and the feet are currently your foundation. Help to engage the muscles by pushing the tailbone upward. So notice how it feels when you're not pushing the tailbone upward, and then notice as you push the tailbone, feeling your hands pushing into the mat, feeling the fingers pushing into the mat, feeling the heels driving downward. If the legs still feel really tight at this stage, just bend the knees a little bit. Release the head, release the neck. We start to pedal the feet, making this a little bit more movement orientated. So pushing both heels. Spreading out the fingers, pushing down on the fingers and knuckles. One heel at a time. Both heels pushing down onto the mat now. Lift the tailbone. Does that feel any different now that we kind of loosened up the legs? So hop both feet to the front of the mat. You can step. Okay, hanging upside down. Let the feet, maybe feet are hips width apart. Let the head hang down. Let the arms hang down. Let the body feel like a rag doll, just hanging upside down, maybe moving side to side. So in downward dog and in this loose forward fold, we are upside down. Our heads are below our heart. Slowly roll up. Anytime you hang upside down like this for so long, you want to slowly come up. Don't want to get dizzy. Great, stand tall. Notice how abdomen feels. So we're really taking this time to really listen to our body, really notice how you're feeling. So we're just going to bring our feet to the front of the mat. Find what feels comfortable to stand as well. Because in the classical mountain pose, you'd have the big toes touching and the heels slightly apart. But recognizing that all of our hips, our hip bone, the length of everything, they're all different. So you might feel more comfortable having the feet slightly parallel. Some people might feel comfortable having the feet together, but it's a bit hard to balance. So just find that stance of the feet that feels right to you. Feel the chest lifting. Allow the chest to lift up. Allow the head to lift up. So we're feeling a whole stretch in our body even before stretching our arms over our head. Bring the palms together. Just pause for a moment. Stand tall. Really using this time in this yoga class to tune into the body. Trying to lay the other thoughts aside. How are we feeling? Slowing it down. Opening up the eyes. Inhale, lifting arms overhead. Starting our sun salutation by lifting our arms up. Full body stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come down to the floor. Head releases to the floor. Inhale, straighten legs. Half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Stepping both feet back into plank. Hold in plank and lower down. As you exhale, bringing the elbows tight to the side of the body. Come to low plank, Chaturanga. Inhale, reaching chest forward, lifting. Lifting everything up. Upward facing dog. If the lower back doesn't feel warmed up this morning, you can also lift into cobra. Come into downward facing dog. So I'm going to come back into plank. Push the heels away in plank. Try to push the whole hand into the mat. So using the surface of the hand, that's your base. Push the mat away. Tighten the abdomen. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower down. So really trying to lower down without trying your best. If you want to come to the knees, that might feel better. If you can get more leverage, solid in the middle, coming down. Really trying to avoid this. I do in the classes see sometimes we're coming down and people are going down and flopping. Really trying to be strong. Drop the knees if you need to lower down Chaturanga. So our whole body now is on the floor. So release the body to the floor. Tops of feet on the floor. Just want to review Cobra for a moment. So Cobra, placing hands on the side, to the side of the shoulders of the rib cage, finding where that feels comfortable to you. So peeling the chest only off the mat. Reach the chest forward. Bring the elbows to the side. So holding, reaching. So we're still engaging our muscles. We're doing that by reaching the chest forward and trying to do a little lift. So the hips are still on the mat, the abdomen is still on the mat. So this works the lower back. So it really is working the muscles. Maybe feeling the glutes tighten a little bit, it's fine. You straighten the arms, upward facing dog. So upward facing dog, my hips are off the mat. I'm gonna lift my knees to engage the legs. So squeezing the thighs, lifting the knees. Chest still feels like it's reaching forward, stretching out the torso. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. Let the head release, the neck release, look between the knees. Finding that one focus ahead of you. Yoga is great for concentration. And one tool that we use is the drishti, looking between, so at this stage we're looking between the knees. You can look between the feet. We want to keep the neck lengthened, aligned with the spine. So maybe between the knees. Sometimes I even say you can look at the belly button. Gives the neck a bit of a stretch. Your choice. On your next inhale, look forward now. So we always just look forward to step or hop to the hands. Wasn't the best hop in the world, that's okay. That's okay. So we're gonna straighten the legs, lengthen, look forward. So we're lengthening spine, looking forward, feeling the middle of the back stretching. Take a deep breath in. Come to full forward fold. So bend the knees, hands come down to the mat. And some people might just want to touch the mat with the fingertips, but trying to bring the whole hand down. Bend the knees a little more. Let the head hang down. Inhale, standing. Rising up. Arms out to the side, reaching. Reaching. And as we exhale, palms come back to the heart center. This time, I won't talk so much. We'll just get on with the sun salutation. I always do want to break things down because someone's going to autopilot, and I'm hoping that we can step back from autopilot in this class and really just take the time to feel, take the time to move, take the time to breathe. So leave our to-do lists for after the class. Inhale, lifting arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Bend knees, hands come to the mat, release head. Inhale, straighten legs, half forward fold, look forward. Step or hop to the back of the mat into plank, using those shock absorbers, the legs. Holding in plank, let's just stop in plank for a moment, take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower down, tighten abdomen as we're lowering down, strong. Low plank, hovering, or you can come to the ground. Inhale, reaching chest forward, lifting. Cobra or upward dog. Chest is lifting forward and then up. Exhale into downward facing dog. Stopping here for a moment. Finding what feels nice in this pose. Forming the base in the hands, spreading the fingers, driving heels down, let the head release. Maybe some ujjayi breath, the yogic breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose with a bit more force. Generating that inner fire. Really cleansing the body. Inhaling. Push the tailbone upward as well. Feeling strong in this pose. On your next inhale, look forward, step or hop to the hands. Straighten legs, come up to fingertips. Hands can also go in shins. Lengthen spine. Exhale, forward fold again, so hands come down, head to knees. Inhale, standing. Reaching arms out to the side, upward, full body stretch, Uttanasana. And exhale, back to center. Mountain pose again. Inhale, reaching arms up and over the head. Feeling the body stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come down to the floor, head to knees. Inhale, come up halfway, lengthen, look forward. Step or hop to the back of the mat. Hold breath. Now exhale, coming down, low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, reaching chest forward. Lifting, tops of the feet on the mat, maybe lifting knees, upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling feet over. So tucking toes under, downward facing dog. Drop the head, shake the head out. Breathing here, holding in dog. Thinking about some of the other adjustments to the body we can make. Heels driving down, lift tailbone. How are the muscles in the legs feeling? Maybe still tight? Lift kneecaps, engage the thighs. By doing that, we're able to lengthen. So as we engage the thighs, the fronts of the legs, it has the opposite effect. So it allows the backs of the legs to stretch out a little more. Breathing. Remembering your drishti, that focus, that point of focus where you can just gently gaze. On your next inhale, look forward, step or hop to the hands. Come up to fingertips, lengthen spine, look forward. Exhale, forward fold. Head to knees. Inhale, standing, rising up. Reaching up. Strong. Exhale, back to center. So, step the right foot back. So we're just standing, mountain pose. This time we're stepping the right foot back. So we're coming into a high lunge. So left knee bent. Push the right heel away. Finding the balance, just take a moment in this pose, find your balance. Lifting arms overhead. Tighten the abdomen, that will help stabilize. So your core, your key stabilizer, will help keep the body from being kind of a loose noodle. So tighten, strong. breathing. That right heel's pushing away. So maybe you want to straighten the back leg. Maybe you want to bend the knee a little bit, so bend that right knee a little bit. Just see how it feels different. So if you're pushing the right heel away, trying to straighten that back leg, how does that feel in the hips? Bending the right leg a little bit. Might feel nicer. Take a look at the front knee. Please keep the front knee directly over the heel. Don't want it dropping in because it puts excess strain on the connective tissue around the knees. Okay, now we're going to just drop the back knee down. So now we're going to drop the hands down as well. Top of the foot onto the mat. Hands on hips. So now in a low lunge. Walk that left foot forward a little bit because we just want to prepare ourselves to sink down further. So allow both the hips just to move forward. We're still feeling the chest open. We want to stay strong. We want to keep our posture strong. Also tighten the abdomen. So in any of these poses, everything is so connected. We really want to work the deep abdominals, even in this pose. Sink down a little more. Breathing. If you're looking for a focal point, so that drishti, coming back to the drishti, there might be something ahead of you that you can just gently gaze at, or you can look at the tip of the nose. Just gently. We're not trying to cross our eyes. Sinking down. Placing hands onto the mat. Maybe bending the right knee, left hand. So it reaches back, so the left hand reaches back towards the right foot, that bent knee, that bent back leg. If you feel comfortable to take a hold of the back foot, please do, but there's no pressure to do so. It might actually put extra pressure on the knee. So just know your body again. How does this feel? Does this feel nice? Do you feel like you're getting a deep stretch in the front of the right leg? You still get the same effect by taking that left arm, reaching back, also opening up that left shoulder as well, so maybe twisting a bit. Taking deep breaths. Really bringing fresh oxygen into the body by the deeper breaths. Okay, releasing the foot. So, gentle hamstring stretch by shifting the hips back. You can walk the hands back. We're starting to straighten the front leg. So the front knee was bent. Now we're coming out of that pose. I'm going to straighten the front leg. So, so this is, in essence, a half split. This is my half split. So the hips are starting to move backward. Front leg is straight. Try to push the left heel into the mat as well. If you feel like you're not getting much of a stretch, you can walk that left foot forward a little bit more and start to lean back. So, in Sanskrit, this is half monkey pose, so Hanuman. So this is called Ardha, half Hanumanasana. So, sorry about the pronunciation. Ardha Hanumanasana. So we can come into full splits if we'd like, which to me doesn't look that much different than half split, but the body should be warmed up enough. So in order to do this, I have both my fists on the ground actually, but you can lay on the fingertips. So if we were all in the class, in-person class, I would have blocks, but I know not everybody has blocks, but sometimes it's nice to have 2 blocks on the side. Trying to do these classes without props because I know that not everyone has them, so, but it does make it a bit easier to have 2 solid blocks. So still inching my left foot forward a bit. You can kind of just wiggle it forward, the back. It's a strong stretch. Hoping we did enough downward dogs to help stretch the backs of the legs out. So this is Hanumanasana. Breathing. If this pose feels really intense, keeping that yogic breath, the Ujjayi breath. I'm not sure if you can hear me breathing. It's a bit windy out, so maybe hear the leaves rustling in the background. So you can't hear my victorious breath. Helps to release the muscles a little more, helps to calm the mind, telling the muscles it's okay to release. Feel free to come out of this anytime. Now I could be stuck. So I will slowly come out of this pose. So I'm gonna wiggle my front foot back a bit. My mat is quite sticky. Okay, so I've come out of this lovely pose. Okay. So I'm just gonna walk forward into just a brief Sphinx pose. So coming down to my elbows, bend both knees, stretch out. Breathing. Just taking a couple breaths here. Bringing the legs down. Coming back up, come to all fours. We will take on the other side slightly differently. I'm gonna bring my right foot forward, curl the left toe underneath, and we're starting off in the high lunge like we did on the other side. So now we're just coming into it in a different way. Take a look at the front knee. The right knee is over the heel, over the ankle. Just getting comfortable. Taking a moment. It's okay to take a moment to get comfortable in this pose. So it requires a little bit of balance. Push the back heel away, lifting arms overhead. That high lunge crescent. Take a look at the front knee for a moment. Finding your drishti, that focus. Really feeling the spine lengthening, but tighten the abdomen. So we have a lot of engagement going on in the body. So are we still listening to our body, or are we thinking about our to-do list? Just really taking this time for yourself. Bring yourself back to your breathing. Lifting the arms up a little bit more. Maybe it's just seeing how it feels to this hip by bending the left leg. Just a little bit, left knee, a little bit bent. Feel how it feels. See how it feels pushing, trying to straighten that back leg. This is about as straight as I can get it. I always feel comfortable with a tiny bend in the left knee. Coming down to low lunge, excuse me. Yeah, hands to the floor, low lunge. Back knee to the floor. Top of the back foot to the floor. Front knee is still bent. Taking this time to sink down. Sinking down a little more. Maybe you feel as though you want to go a little bit deeper into the stretch. walking the right foot, kind of inching it forward. You can come up a little bit, taking that pressure off taking that weight off the front foot, and then sink down again. How do the hips feel? Are they opening up the stage? Sink down a little more. So bringing the hands down to the mat, bending the left knee, so the left foot is coming up, taking right hand, twisting around. So the right hand might just head towards that back foot. Look around, look at the foot. Just being careful with the twist. This is a strong pose. It's just not pushing yourself into discomfort or injury. So if you take the foot, I'm kind of slowly getting hold of my heel and then taking a hold of the foot. So it just took a moment. So it might take you a moment. It might not. So again, there's no pressure to take a hold of this back foot. You can just reach towards it, opening up the right shoulder. Deep breathing as well, that will help to release the muscles. Slowly release. Back foot comes down to the ground. We're shifting to our half split, our half monkey pose. So, straightening the right leg. Maybe walking that right foot forward a bit. Try to lengthen, so it might feel a bit different if you're reaching the chest forward. Maybe walking that foot forward a little bit more. So trying to lengthen the spine. I mean, my spine might look a bit rounded. But you're still internally just trying to lengthen. But coming to the fingertips. So one side might feel a bit tighter than the other. So the pose might not look the same to you or feel the same to you on the side. So we're in this half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. If you want to come into a full split, you just simply walk the left foot back, or the left knee back. You can walk, kind of move that left foot forward. I'm sure if we all practice this every day, the sequence, we'd be doing the splits. It takes time though, so if that ends up being kind of a goal of yours, doing the sequence every day, you get a little bit closer. At this stage, it is not my goal. My goal is to get a good stretch in the backs of the legs. The whole body is getting a stretch in these sequences. So still holding, still breathing. I'm just making whatever adjustments you'd like. Just letting gravity do some of the work as well. Okay. If we are willing and ready to come out of the pose, let's see how gracefully we can come out of this pose. So a few tips is you can kind of even lift, tuck that back toe under, maybe lift that left knee a little bit more towards you. walking that right foot back and bringing the knees together. And then we're going to come back to our Sphinx pose just as a counter stretch. So elbows are underneath the shoulders. This is not an exertion pose. It's not a strong exertion pose. So we're not doing cobra or up dog or anything. This is just supporting the body with the elbows underneath the shoulders. So the only exertion that I would say would be in this pose is to just reach the chest forward. It's a minor exertion. Maybe bending both knees. Just breathing, looking forward. Releasing. Okay, so we're going to come into downward dog. Just pedal the feet. Shaking out the head. So we're going to do three-legged dog. So just thinking about what we did in the beginning of the class, that warm up when we were on our knees. This time our feet are tucked under. I'm going to lift up the right leg, three-legged dog. Then we're going to shift into a plank pose. But when we shift into plank, at the same time, we're going to bring the right knee out to the right elbow. Maybe hook that right knee onto the elbow. Feel that weight shifting, feeling the hands as a base supporting. Lift up again. Three-legged dog with the right leg. Try it again. So at the same time, plank and bringing right knee to right elbow. Rest that right knee on the right elbow. Reaching up. And trying that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Come into plank. Right knee comes onto the right elbow. Maybe just see how it feels. Can you rest that right knee on the right elbow? Can you come up to the tiptoes of the left foot? Maybe can you shift the weight forward a bit? Okay, come back to downward dog. Spreading the fingers out. So maybe you might feel if you want a bit of a break, you can come into child's pose. Whatever feels comfortable, maybe just come down to the knees for a sec before we do the other side. Okay, come into downward dog again. We have some birds in the tree, kind of dancing around. Okay, lifting up left leg, three-legged dog. Now coming into that plank pose, left knee, left elbow. Maybe leaning that left knee on the left elbow. Coming up, three-legged dog. And exhale, plank, resting left knee on left elbow. Coming up one more time, three-legged dog. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Left knee, left elbow. And this, maybe trying to come up to the tiptoes of the right foot. Holding. Good, and releasing. So coming down to the knees for a rest. Come to child's pose. So just doing that sequence was a beginning of an arm balancing pose, which is quite a strong pose. Okay, coming up. Downward facing dog. So the pose I'm talking about is Ekapada Kundiasana. Okay, so lifting up right leg, three-legged dog. Bringing yourself into plank, right knee onto right elbow. Let me see how it feels. Straighten the leg, maybe. Now, I find that's quite a challenge, so bending both elbows a little more, coming up onto that that back tiptoe. Well, the birds are having a good time in our magnolia tree. Okay, coming back. Three-legged dog. To downward dog, not three-legged. Come to the knees for a sec if you'd like. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting left leg, three-legged dog. Coming to that plank, bringing left knee to left elbow, maybe kind of bending down a little bit more so the elbows are bent, so you have like a little bit of a shelf. Let's see if you can straighten that leg a bit, maybe not. Come up to the finger, or the tiptoes of the back foot. Holding, strong pose, tighten the abdomen. Coming back to downward facing dog. Knees come down, well done. Even with the distraction of the wildlife, yet again, the joys of being outside. It's lovely being outside. Okay, child's pose. Okay, so coming into pigeon pose. Feeling inspired by the pigeons flying around the trees. Okay, so let's come into downward facing dog. Bringing the right knee forward and just placing the right knee onto the mat. So the right foot comes underneath the body to the opposite side of the mat. The back leg is straight, the back knee is coming down to the mat. So the hands are supporting, chest is reaching forward. So this is a good stretch for the glutes. It's a challenging stretch for some. If you're not feeling very much in this pose, you can also take this right foot, start to bring it a bit closer to the front of the mat. So for some, maybe even parallel. So what often helps is if you gently rock side to side, you'll find that area where you're feeling a little bit more of that intense stretch. So trying to come to that point. So some people like to come down to their forearms, or rest their head down. Just gently rocking side to side. So we're trying to really stretch out the muscles in the side of the right hip, leading to various muscles in the glute area at the bottom. It's especially nice if you've been sitting at your desk all day, or even yesterday. Just slowly breathing. Breathing. Any internal movement would be the chest moving forward, maybe sinking down a little more, maybe adjusting that right foot, so pulling it up a little bit more. You can still gently rock side to side if you'd like. If you're happy in that pose, if you've chosen a pose where you're getting that deep stretch, just breathing into that deep stretch. Okay, so coming out of the pose, before we come fully out of the pose, if we want to try to come into King Pigeon, so Ekapada Kapotasana. So if the left knee is happy to do this, you can take the right hand and reach around. So we did this earlier in similar stretch. Opening. So if you feel comfortable, you maybe even try to release the left hand and take a hold of the foot as well. Opening up both shoulders. So you're getting a good long stretch. So quite an intense stretch on that right glute. Opening up the chest. Now this is definitely where you can release. Definitely a variation of King Pigeon, because if you were to look on Instagram or just Google King Pigeon yoga pose, you'll see people that literally can lift their arms up and over their head. That is not possible for me, because again, that's not a goal of mine. So come out of this pose, come into downward facing dog is the best way to come out of this pose. So I strongly believe that if you do set a goal, that you can get close to achieving it, not fully achieving it. But it takes practice every day. So King Pigeon is not mine, or that super duper variation is not. So I'm quite happy with my version. Okay. Back in downward dog, making sure that your legs feel fully stretched before we come to the other side. So bringing the left knee forward. And so the left foot moves over, so it's underneath the body, coming over towards the opposite side of the mat. So just finding that level of comfort. It might feel different on this side as well. So making adjustments with your foot. So that left foot, maybe this feels like nothing. So if you were to have your left foot completely parallel with the mat, that might be too much for the pose for you to get anything, because for me, bringing it all the way up, I'm just kind of twisted. So just find that kind of middle point where you feel like you're getting enough stretch. So we want the back to be long. We want the hips to be level, so we don't want them really kind of thrown off, because that will throw off the back. So if we had blocks, sometimes if you did have blocks, sometimes for some people it feels better to have just a block supporting one side. Sometimes it's only for one side, maybe not for both. Come down to forearms if you haven't already. Very gently rocking side to side. Just enjoying this deep stretch. I'm kind of saying quotes, enjoying. Some people find this is a really difficult pose for them. Really tight hips. So do what you can. So this is fine. This is fine, even having the leg completely underneath. So that left foot's underneath the body rather than out to the side. Just find what feels good for you. Okay. Straighten the arms. We're going to try our King Pigeon on this side. So, starting off by bending the right knee. So that might be enough, or whatever you want. Taking the left hand, maybe that left hand takes a hold of the back foot. Maybe that's enough, supporting yourself. Good strong stretch. If you want to come into my variation, the king pigeon, you feel as though that front leg, you can balance on that front leg, taking both arms to the foot, opening up the chest. It's really nice to open the chest. Breathing, lengthening, so lifting the chest. Just enjoying the king pigeon. Again, I mean, I seriously don't know how people can do it with the arms lifted over. Okay, releasing when you like. Downward facing dog, please. Just, this is a nice one, just to stretch the legs out. Okay. At last we come down to our backs. Hug the knees into the chest. Just rocking side to side. Opening up the arms now. Dropping both knees to the right side. So, two different ways. It just depends on how you like the stretch. You can either start off with the knees hugged into the chest and dropping over, or you can bring the feet to the floor, drop knees over to the right. So just try, you can try both, just know what you like. Just twisting the back, looking over the opposite shoulder as well. So looking, I've got my knees to the right and I'm looking over the left shoulder. Both my shoulders are on the mat, but your shoulder might want to lift a little bit. We're not trying to get both knees on the floor, we're moving them in that direction. So I feel that I get a better chest stretch if both shoulder blades or shoulders are on the floor. Bring it back to center. So you can hug the knees into the chest or the feet can be on the mat. Drop the knees over to the left side. And then looking over the opposite shoulder. So looking over the right shoulder if the knees are dropped to the left. Spinal twist, stretching out the back muscles, stretching out the neck, the shoulders. Coming back to center. Maybe lifting the arms over the head this time. So knees are together, feet are together, and now drop the knees out for supine butterfly. So the soles of the feet are together like a book. Knees drop out to the side. Arms overhead. If that's too much on the shoulders, just take the arms out to the side or just placing the arms wherever you'd like. This is just an opportunity to give the shoulders another stretch. But if it's too much, find a place for your arms. That allows you to enjoy this passive stretch. bringing the knees back together. Doing some windscreen wipers, side to side. Coming into Shavasana. So, legs are mats width apart, or wherever. I mean, some people might feel more comfortable with the legs kind of parallel with their hips. Just trying to find this pose that allows your body to feel fully released. So, palms face upward. Just closing the eyes. Making whatever adjustments to the body to lift the hips up, place them back down. Just finding this pose that will allow you to release all the muscles in the body. So even Shavasana can take practice. You might feel fidgety, or busy. I guess that's a combination, fidgety. Just release the muscles. Unclench the jaw. Observing your breathing. Just let the breath go naturally. Just noticing the patterns of your breathing. So you're the observer. Allow the whole body to feel heavy. Observing the body. Observing any energy that you feel running through the body. Observing the thoughts. The mind is wandering. It's absolutely fine. Just allowing yourself to come back to your breathing. Just setting the thoughts aside for later. Enjoying the now. Slowly coming out of this pose, moving the fingers and toes, bringing yourself onto one side, rolling over, transitioning out of this lovely pose. Just pushing yourselves up to a comfortable seated pose, the pose we started out with. Bring the hands onto the knees and close the eyes for a moment. Notice how the body's feeling now. Bringing palms together to the heart center. Just bowing down for a moment to take its moment to feel gratitude. Just thank yourself for taking this time out just for you. Namaste.